I'd like to call this meeting to order, the Board of Selectmen meeting for Thursday, September 27th, 2018. Our first guest is running late, so we're going to move to a recommendation from Police Chief Nelson to appoint 2 reserve officers.
Good evening, everyone.
Chief, how are you tonight? Good to see you.
Hello.
Grab over here, too far. Tonight I've got Brian with me.
Brian, John.
Brian, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. All right, well, thank you again for having us. Tonight I'm bringing forward Ben Levine and Brian Dufresne. Dufresne, I'll get it right sooner or later. So, unfortunately, Ben couldn't be here because he got deployed with the recent hurricane down south with his part-time company that he's working with, CSX Transportation, as a special agent. So they sent him down there. He's come back and he couldn't make it tonight. So I hope you'll, looking at the information that I provided, Ben is a highly qualified candidate for this part-time position, even a full-time position. He could slide right in. I'll start with Ben since he's not here, and then I'll let you attack Brian. So Ben did most of his career in Boxborough. Did 24 years there. He was in Harvard for about a year and Stowe for a couple of years. He went to the 1990 Police Academy, so he has the full-time academy. And as long as within 5 years of his last employment, as long as he's staying up and current, he can come anywhere. He doesn't have to be retrained. So he's plug and play. All we got to do is just show him the roads in Bolton. He's also an MPTC instructor, so he goes up to Reading and teaches all the cadets different topics that he's tasked to do, pretty much. So he's got an associate's degree, very knowledgeable. He's going to be a great asset to have him on the department. And he likes to write a lot of tickets. That's one thing about him. Okay, so, Brian is a full-time EMT with Ease Care, if I say it correctly, and he's also an EMT with the Boylston Fire Department. So right now with Brian's current schedule, how many shifts? You're doing 2 24s?
I do 3 13.5s, but I work Tuesday through Thursday, so I have Friday through Mondays off.
So he's got a lot of available time.
Good.
Plus, he's got the Reserve Academy that he completed in 2015, and bachelor's degree in criminal justice, highly recommended, and through our background checks, everything came out perfect on both candidates. The only thing that Ben did not finish, because he got deployed, was his psych. So if you do approve him tonight, I would just make it contingent on that final test that I could submit later.
Okay.
That's it. So if you have any questions, easy.
No, great. Well, thank you very much. We appreciate the fact that you're interested in participating. What brought you to Bolton?
Well, I really like the feel of small towns. I worked for Wellfleet Police on Cape Cod for 3 years, from March 2015 to September 2017. I mean, in the summers it's 25,000 residents, but in the off season it's only 2,700. And I think there's a lot of opportunities to be made in small towns. A lot of opportunities for positive interactions through community policing type events, and that's what I want to do. I mean, I absolutely want to go out there and stop cars, but I also want to be part of, first responder type days and coffee with a cop. I think that's a lot more prevalent in small communities than it is in bigger departments. So I definitely foresee myself hopefully making the leap to a full-time officer in the future in a small community.
Brian's definitely the right fit for Bolton. Like he said, he's very community policing oriented, so that's the type of people we want here.
I've read both packets, and both packets are really exemplary.
Excellent. Excellent.
Great. We have a motion.
I move that the board appoint Brian Dufresne, and contingent upon his completing his exams, Benjamin Levine,
Yep.
to reserve police officers.
I'll second that.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
welcome.
Welcome.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Chief, good seeing you again.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Take care.
Take care.
So we're still waiting, so maybe, should we jump to the draft housing production plan?
Do that, you wanna do that, Eric?
Sure.
Good evening, Eric.
Eric, how are you?
Yeah, so we were here before, talking about master plan and affordable housing, but we figured this was the easier nut to crack to start with. You know, we just had the ZBA meeting with 40B, so there's a lot of interest in 40B and where they're going and everything, and you know, either directing them into particular locations or preventing them from more sensitive areas, but taking a step back from that and looking more at a high-level view, we need to understand what our current 40B inventory is and understand what the how we're going to build it up in the future, because currently we're at 3%. The state mandates you to be at 10%. Not many towns are at 10%, but you have to show the state that you're working towards that number. So if you're working towards that number, there's a chance that you could hold off a particular 40B or direct it in a different location or something like that. So this, you know, the planning board doesn't have the cycles to take, well actually, let me see. So in 2003 was the last time we had the housing production plan that went through the state. I think there was an update in 2010, but it got rejected by the state and never picked back up. So right now we're working off of a 15-year-old plan. That was, I think it was at 3% back then as well. So there's a big plan to how to get up to 10%, it just never happened. So we would like to create a committee that will look at our current inventory and also work on the housing production plan, and then in the future move towards kind of the affordable housing portion of the master plan. They would be working with the planning board would select them, and the reason why they need to work closely is because we plan on working on some affordable housing bylaws this year, so that would be kind of part of the plan as well, to show the state how we'd be getting our percentage up. Should I read this off for people watching, or is it not necessary?
I just wonder, why was it rejected, and Erica, do you know why?
I know one of the reasons was because we didn't update it with the current census data.
Okay.
So I think DHCD had kicked it back and said, you need to update it with that information, and we just never did. That was part of it. There could have been other reasons.
But in any other case, then it's outdated as of today.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Just curious about that.
The makeup of the board, we were saying would be 7 people. And we said that there needs to be at least 4 of the following group. Members of the planning board, board of selectmen, housing authority members, affordable housing partnership trust fund members, and other boards and committees in town. And then up to 3 residents not in committees. So that's kind of the makeup. It'd be good to get, you know, somebody on the affordable housing planning board. It'd be nice to get a selectman in there. You know, so some people that are in boards that are dealing with this, you know, and I guess as much as anybody else in town, and then to get an outside perspective from residents as well. So that's the kind of the makeup of the board that we created. We expect that it's going to be a fair amount of work for the board to create this housing production plan. You know, I'm sure it's going to take up a good chunk of the year. So that's about it. I don't know if there's any questions.
No, the only thing that I would suggest is that I would limit it to the housing production plan, and not get them involved, at least at this stage, with Bolton's master plan. I think that's going a little bit far outside the scope. I was actually part of the group back in 2003 and 4 that crafted the first housing production plan. So I think, a lot of it is updating, to your point, Erica, a lot of the information, because I do have a copy, I asked to have a copy of that circulated amongst us today. A lot of that information is outdated in terms of census data and where we are and those kinds of things. But, we'll be talking in just a moment about a unit at Bolton Woods Way, and I think part of the issue, which I think we need to address, is that, we can have whatever grandiose plan we want, but we currently have one unit at Bolton Woods Way that we've now tried for the last 3 or 4 months to try to find a buyer for, and we can't find anybody who qualifies. So, part of the issue is, we can have all the great plans we want in terms of, putting housing, in Bolton, but if we can't find anyone, or if the state agencies can't find anyone that can afford it based upon the criteria, I mean, that's part of the issue. So I think we need to also address that as well.
Yes, actually, part of the problem with that one and other units like that is they're affordable for Bolton, but they're not necessarily affordable for the region. I mean, I know it's within the percentages and all, but, trying to find somebody who qualifies for affordable but also can get a mortgage for $150,000 is pretty tough. So, I don't know how much you want to get into it, but.
But no, not now, but I mean, I think part of this needs to go back to the state, and some of their criteria and, the particulars of the one for Bolton Woods Way. But still, I think that needs to be looked at as well, and maybe doing some outreach, because we can have whatever we want as far as grandiose plans, but if no one can afford it, based on the criteria, it's kind of a moot
Well,
point.
so another aspect of the housing production plan, which we want to work on, is showing incremental improvements. And by showing incremental improvements, if you so I think we have about 1,700 houses in town, maybe it's 1,800, it's around that range. So 1% is 17, half a percent is 8. So if you can get a 0.5%, if you can increase a 0.5% in the past year, you can delay, for instance, with the 40B or Still River Road, I don't know if Concom or whatever is going to come up and say that it's a sensitive area, we prefer not to have it there. We would have the option saying, hey, we're working towards that plan, let's delay this, look at that one, particular one more.
Mm-hmm.
And if you increase it 1% in the past year, you can delay something up to 2 years.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So the units going in at Craftsman Village, are they counting as part of that?
Yeah, they will. I mean, but still, the thing with 40Bs is, so you have 30 units going in, 25% are going to be affordable. It really actually doesn't help our percentage too much.
Mhm.
So if we want to really help affordable, you need to get a development that's, a much higher percentage than 25%.
Mhm.
So that's something the planning board's going to be looking at.
Regarding your comment about assisting with future updates to Bolton Master Plan, would you be more comfortable with that if we added the phrase related to affordable housing?
I mean, you could even strike, I just put that line thinking that this group could eventually, move to the master plan, but we could strike that line. I don't care.
Okay, because I think affordable housing should be part of the master plan. It's just that at the same time, you don't want to give this group expansive authority to do other stuff in the master.
I mean, if you just want to strike the line and assisting with future updates to Bolton's master plan, that's fine by me. I mean, if you want to make it easier.
I mean, we're pulling this group together,
Mhm.
and we do need that part updated.
Yeah.
So
I'm just saying, we haven't really.
it could be helpful in getting one chapter
Yeah,
of the master plan written.
but it's to Stan's point, if you think it's just, confusing the matter.
Well, I'm not sure why Stan objects to it. Is it because it could be bigger, which is why I suggested adding a phrase to kind of restrict the role that they would have in the master plan, or do you?
I think if we're going to do a charter for the housing production plan for affordable housing, it should be for that. And I think the master plan is a larger overarching document. Let's not charge them with too much at this point in time. Let's just try to get
Fine with that.
this
Yeah,
first
okay.
and then deal with.
I think it was kind of a throw-in line,
Yeah.
so. we could, strike that line from the charter, I'm fine with that.
Okay.
That's it. We would really want to get this board staffed and going because, just last night we started talking about a affordable senior housing bylaw, looking at other towns, what they're doing and stuff, so we definitely would like them to get them going so, they can assist us and we can assist them. It's kind of a parallel effort, I think.
Well, I'll make a motion that we accept the Planning Board's Housing Production Plan Committee Charter with the one sentence related to the master plan being struck. I move the Board of Selectmen adopted.
I'll second that.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Great.
Thank you, Eric.
Thank you. So we'll advertise for that?
Yep.
We'll get an ad in the paper. You could,
Keep going.
you could either do number, well, I think there's a couple more people for the housing trust that we're expecting them, right?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
so
Yes.
We could do number 5, or we could jump to number 7, or 5, 6, and 7, actually.
Okay. Let's move to the announcement of the newly designated Bolton Pan National Register Historic District and approval of signage locations for said district with the Historic Commission.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Historical Commission.
You received the handouts that we done? Yes, I'm happy to announce that after over 8 years, the Bolton Pan National Register Historic District has come into being as of the 16th of August. And with regard to the signs, I had told them not to install the signs until after this evening's meeting, but they were actually put in, I believe, on Tuesday. So, this is the 5 signs for the district. There's one just west of Slater's as you go west. There's one at Burnham Road. There's one just past the country cupboard at the,
So that's the
at the northbound off-ramps. There's one on the Persons Park frontage on Hudson Road and one at 186 Long Hill Road. So this is a total of 95 resources that are contributing. And resources can be structures or other features, ponds, whatever. I have an extra copy of this.
Pan is what? I should know.
A pan is a geological,
Okay.
often wet formation. This is where
That's the
the
area.
skating happened in the winter,
Mhm.
from Burnham Road up to Golden Run Road, that whole area that's now cut in half by 495. The sawmill stopped working November 1st. They froze it to save the cranberry plants, which would freeze if they weren't under water, under ice. And then on May 1st, they got rid of the water, and the sawmill on Skinner property, at 401, was again put in action. There was always this frantic, finish it all before November 1st.
So this is what the sign looks like?
Yes, it's just like the previous signs, of which there's one right across from the safety building on the church sexton's home.
Martha, part of this process is that you're supposed to come in, one, to get approval of locations and also approval of the sign itself. And I actually went out today and noticed that all 5 signs were installed. I'm a bit disappointed that, you went ahead and did this, without regard to the process. And, you've done this before with cemetery signs that you put in each of the cemeteries in Bolton, where you installed those signs years ago without any permission or whatnot. So I'm a
But I
little.
think you could say the commission did that before.
Well, I don't care whether the commission or you or whatever, but this is now a second instance where, you're asking permission to approve a sign design and have signs installed, and it's a fait accompli. And obviously, we are very supportive of this, but it's the continued lack of wanting to follow the process. And you come in and when the developers are trying to develop something, or someone's trying to build something, or you cite chapter and verse about the process they have to follow, but it doesn't seem as if, you seem to be exempt from following the same process. And all we ask is that you follow the same process. And I was very disappointed as I drove around today. I saw every one of those signs has been installed. And I don't understand, why you think that that's acceptable in this instance. To mar what should be, a very good opportunity and occasion. I applaud the fact that you've done this. But why the continued lack of regard when you insist on following a process and procedures and going through stuff when someone else is trying to either develop a property or to do something? And in this case, we put the signs in and
Well,
that's good.
Selectman Wysocki and other members of the board. Quite frankly, since we already had National Register District signage for the Bolton Center District, the design of the signs would be the same. I do apologize that they were installed. The gentleman at Sunshine Signs went on vacation. He told me he was going on vacation, and I made it very clear to him that no installation should happen until after the vote at this board's meeting. So I was quite appalled on Tuesday or Wednesday, Alice, when I noticed the one at Slater's had been installed, and I thought, uh-oh. So then I sent Alice around, and she checked and found out that all of the signs had been installed. So because the gentleman at Sunshine Signs who controls the, he sends the crew out, there was a mix-up at Sunshine Signs. And I was appalled that they were up already, and I do apologize. They had been approved by Director Lynch at DPW as far as locations.
No. Mr. Lynch doesn't approve locations. I spoke with Mr. Lynch today, and he acknowledged the fact that you had a conversation with him and the meeting that you had with him to look at potential locations. But it's this board who approves the locations and approves the signs. It's not Mr. Lynch who approves the locations. It's this board. And I would just ask in the future that, you are a stickler for process,
I am.
okay, that please follow the process. That's all,
And
that's
as I
all I'm
say,
asking.
I do apologize. I thought, and apparently wrongly, that since the positioning had to include directions of the boundaries of the district, and they had to be facing so that traffic could see them entering and leaving the district, that quite frankly, approving the sign locations would be pro forma. I made a big mistake, and I do apologize.
I just
But
ask
they
that-
should not have been installed.
I just ask in
And
the future that you follow.
I
the
was
process.
very upset when I saw they were, but the fellow's on vacation, and there was nothing I could do. I did call and leave a message, and I called the salesperson from Sunshine Signs to say no more installed, but the next day I saw that all the others had been
Mhm.
installed. So, and as far as the cemetery signs, I remember when we put them in, and I guess I thought because the town was installing them, that shame on me, I wouldn't have to come and ask you to put them there. The black and gold signs.
I understand.
Because it's the town and not a townsperson who wants to put it on their frontage or their home. or something. So I didn't realize the Historical Commission was quite that separate from an entity in the town. And I apologize for that, and that's been there quite a while.
Yes, it has,
And everybody loved those cemetery signs,
yes,
by the way.
they're very nice, Martha, they're very nice, but we do need to follow the process.
So, might I just mention that we're looking to put a plaque up on Wilder Road to indicate the Wilder culvert, the location. We haven't chosen a location yet.
Mhm.
That would be a bronze plaque on a rock.
Like you did at the public safety building for the,
Yes.
yes.
Yes. We're struggling over the location for that because, as you know, the culvert is down in the ravine and we don't know whether we should put it going west. You know, we're thinking going
Mhm.
west. So I'll just give you a heads up on that.
Thank you.
And it's just going to say a Wilder culvert and 1825, and that SVS Wilder was the road commissioner at that, and that it was rebuilt in 2017. So when we find a would you like to help choose the location for that?
Oh, I'm sure you'll do a great job. Just let us know where you want to put it.
All right, I am so sorry.
We appreciate your apology. Do we have a motion to approve these signs?
I guess so, they're already in. We're not gonna take
And
them
I'll
out.
have a talk
We're
with
not-
Harry,
we're not gonna
he's
take 'em out.
out of town, so.
No, and they do look very nice, and they're very, you know, they're very nice. It's like.
I'll second it just as the formality.
We have just one comment.
Mary Chumo, Corn Road. I just think this is a wonderful asset for the town. It just adds to the attractiveness of what Bolton is. So this
Oh,
is,
I agree.
this is something, yeah, that's a real plus.
Yep, no, I agree. I think it's a great thing. It's a great
And
thing.
you've heard that word, assume, right? Make a you-know-what out of you and me. I kind of thought that, you know, this has been in the works a long time, and National Register districts always have signage to promote,
Oh, no, I
There
think
are
it's
things.
great. I think it's great.
and I am sorry.
No, I think it's great. You second the motion?
I did.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Okay.
Thank you, Martha.
It's amazing. We approve, and they're up. Amazing. Thank you, Martha.
Thank you.
Are you going to go to my next one, or should I go sit in the audience?
No, no, no.
Please stay here. So we have a request for permission to paint the flagpole and replace the halyard and flag at Persons Park, Friends of Persons Park.
Yes, I'll now put my Friends of Persons Park hat on. I noticed that the flag, which we had put up in 2010, I think, on that thread of a rope,
It's
was
legal.
getting really ratty.
Yeah, I was up there this past weekend. It's a little-
And,
little
So,
tired.
this would be a private donation authorized, you know, through Friends of Persons Park. The halyard, you know, I don't think it could stand being taken down and put back up, and the flag is really rusty. The pole is really rusty. So before I got too involved trying to find someone who could bid on that work, I wanted to ask the selectmen what they thought about having a new flag and a prettier flagpole at Persons Park. Laura Roberts and Parks and Rec were fine with it.
So this is the
What?
flag with your drawing? Or is it-
No,
No,
this is the American flag.
There's a flagpole in the middle of the circle,
Mhm.
and the flagpole itself is pretty rusty, and the flag is a little tired.
Well, I have a procedural question again. Isn't this something that just Parks and Rec can decide? I mean, if Parks and Rec wants to replace the flagpole and put up a new flag,
Parks and Rec can decide it,
It would come out of their budget, though.
well, that they really can decide it. But you actually said it was going to be a donation from the Friends of Persons Park.
Yeah, or, you know, either the association or a private donation.
Then it wouldn't come out of the budget.
yeah, then it wouldn't come out,
Yeah,
then
if
then it would be a
But
gift.
if-
Then it would be a gift and the Board of Selectmen
Yeah,
should
then
accept
we
the
have,
gift.
okay. So which is it?
Through exploration, I'm not finding really a lot of people out there that paint flagpoles. So it might end up having to be replaced. where it would still not be cost to the town.
So you could accept the gift of a flagpole and flag and halyard, and if the flagpole isn't replaced, it's only painted, then that's fine too, but you could at least accept the
But
gift.
I'm not hearing
of a-
that there's a concrete gift of that.
Well, there won't be until we find somebody who can do the work and have a bid and everything. But it could cost anything from a very little to a lot.
Yeah, I don't know how difficult it is to take that flagpole down. So,
Well, hopefully it would be sound enough so it wouldn't have to be taken down, but I've only spoken with 3 people. There aren't a lot of people who do this work. And they said that even if you refurbished it, it might not last for very long.
yeah, I don't think anyone paints a flagpole while it's up. I think
Oh, sure they do.
Really?
I saw it in a movie once. It didn't go- it didn't go
One of
well
those
for the people
Stan and
doing it.
Laurel kinds of movies?
No, it could be that there's a pivot point close to the bottom where the flagpole can be tilted.
No, I think this is,
Horizontal.
I think this is like
Just putting
It's
concrete in
post-World War II.
Okay, well, I'm not, I didn't.
It's not a sophisticated,
Close enough look. But also,
flagpole.
to answer one of your other questions, several years ago, the Parks and Rec somewhat abdicated management of Persons Park to.
only the cottage, remember.
Well, in general, the selectmen, because that they were having some internal issues, so, I mean, I have no problem, I mean,
I can put this
ultimately,
back on.
ultimately, it's a town property, and if you can find someone that's willing to either paint it or replace it, and put a new flag, that's fine with me.
And it would be no cost to the town.
Yeah, that's fine,
And you can accept the gift tonight, assuming the work gets done.
yeah. okay.
And certainly, if I found someone who could do the work and whoever got the bid and everything,
Mhm.
then I'd come back and say,
Sure.
this is when it was gonna be done.
Sure, so, all right, I'll make a motion that we approve the request for permission to paint the flagpole and replace the halyard and flag at Persons Park via the Friends of Persons Park, assuming that you can find someone to.
It may not be this year
And
because it's.
we'll accept that gift at whatever point in time you can find someone to provide the gift for us to accept.
Thank you, sir. And I promise it won't be painted before I come and get
Sure,
that
let's get some
permission. Yeah.
I'll second it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Thank you, Martha.
Thank you, gentlemen.
So now we have, I think, a quorum of the Affordable Housing Trust to consider purchasing 76 Bolton Woods Way, an affordable unit to be removed from Bolton's subsidized housing inventory unless purchased by the trust. Would you like to come forward? Good evening.
I'm Kevin O'Brien.
Gentlemen.
Jacob.
Herb Cabral is out of town. The 3 of you make up the rest of the
Okay.
trust.
The Brain Trust.
Right, right. I'd sort of like to ask if there's been any recent, asking Erica, if there's been any recent developments in this. We apparently do have enough money to cover the cost of the house.
Correct, we have about $279,000 in our trust. Beyond what I sent in that previous email, we don't really have any new updates. Essentially, the current eligible bond buyer had till today to get financing, which I don't think he's secured. So at this point, you know, the owner's gonna get approval from DHCD to be able to go ahead and sell that unit at fair market value, so.
So what is that process, just for everybody to understand? How does an affordable unit leave that designation?
So it's based on the deed writer for
Mhm.
that particular property. There's so much time that the town has. First, the first step is the board of selectmen to act on the right of first refusal. So the town could step up immediately and say, yeah, we want to purchase the property.
Mhm.
Usually we don't do that. So the second step is we then have the monitoring
And we
agent,
didn't
which,
do that in this case.
we didn't do that? I
No.
apologize, I was on maternity leave. I thought that was done.
No,
Okay,
decided not to do that.
okay.
Do what? We
Exercise our right of
We did
first
two of those this
refusal.
summer. We did
In
two of
which
those
case,
this
we would
summer.
have bought it and then tried to sell it we didn't do that because we thought through the efforts of Metro West that we'd be able to sell the unit to an eligible buyer without the town having to take that action.
So we did exercise, we voted not to
You
exercise.
voted not to exercise the
Yes.
right of first refusal.
Yes.
Right, okay.
So that's just for Bolton Woods Way. But do we have riders like this on other
Yeah, there's
properties?
deed riders, and Kevin can speak to this as
Okay.
well, but we have deed riders on all of our affordable units. Some of them are in perpetuity, like Sunset Ridge and the Regency, the more, like the newer units, we've sort of
Okay.
learned that
Right.
we need something that, you know,
Right.
stays with the property longer, so. Unfortunately, Bolton Woods Way, the deed riders on those have 30 to 50-year expirations, so some of them will be coming up anyway. So we have a certain time frame, which is spelled out in the deed rider to market the unit for
Okay.
affordable unit, and we're at the deadline now. So,
If I could further answer your question, if somebody fails to find an eligible buyer to buy the affordable unit at the affordable price, after 60 or 90 days, the homeowner has the right to sell the house on the open market. They still get only what they would have gotten selling it at the affordable price, and the town gets a check for what the difference is between the affordable price and the market price. But then the unit is no longer no longer has a deed rider to keep it affordable.
So I have a couple of questions. One is, you've got enough money in the trust to cover the purchase price, right?
We have enough money.
You have?
We
have enough, okay. We have enough money. Do we have enough money to cover closing costs?
I believe so. The price of the house, I think, is $209,000.
No,
229.
229.
So
And we
it's-
have $279,000.
Okay. And if we purchase it, can we put another rider on it to put it in perpetuity?
I would say so, yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
I
if
just
we
want
can
to,
find a buyer.
maybe it's obvious, but I would want to point out to you that the other expense will be that until the house is sold, the town will be responsible for maintenance and any repairs and so forth that will need to be done.
And the tax revenue goes away.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, but for hopefully a short period of time.
Can I interject here?
Yes.
It's 229.9, but she actually is allowed to garnish 29,900.
Can you identify yourself?
Oh,
Everyone.
Eileen Griffin, right,
And your address.
yeah. 154 Wattaquatta Hill Road.
Great, thank you.
I am getting the listing, and that's why I'm
Mhm.
trying to explain what was explained to me.
Could you say that again, what you,
They're planning to list the house, and she went out, the house was appraised for $370. I think you have that, Erica,
I
don't
do,
you?
I have it right here.
And the idea is the base is 229,900, and she's allowed 10% of that as a profit, which is 29,900, which is over the 229, was explained to me.
So
Plus
it's
her
like
legal cost that she's had. so far.
249 then, would be the hour cost?
That would be, I think we're talking 230 and 30, 260. 229.9, so basically 230. And then she gets paid 230.
So if we had bought this, if we voted to buy it, would the price have been different this summer?
I
No.
believe so.
no, why would it be different? I mean,
And we would
if-
pay the affordable price, not with this 10%, which I,
Where does
Well,
the
that's-
10% come from? I don't.
That's what was quoted to me, that they said that she would be able to accrue 29.9,
If it goes on the market.
10%.
If we don't,
And everything, the balance goes to the town,
right, but
what everything
if
above and beyond.
we buy it, we buy it at 29.9, right?
229.9.
229.9.
Yeah,
Okay.
but she's, somewhere along the line, I said to her, I have to talk to her father, because her father's the one that's been talking to DHCD, and they were saying it's 229 plus 29.9 for her. 229 for her, so I need clarification on that one.
Yeah.
Well, I think we need to, obviously, if we exercise our first right of refusal and bought it up front is one thing. The fact that it expires today and then tomorrow the homeowner is eligible to put it on the market for whatever the market rate is that when the extra 10% kicks in?
It already expired today. They got a notification from the buyer that the buyer is pulling out.
Wait.
And so this is the end of the runway for the town to acquire it at the affordable price? What's the end of the
No,
runway for the
We've
town?
already waived that, and we would have to buy it at the market price.
But-
But we'd also,
No.
I mean, the affordable price,
Yeah.
excuse me, the affordable.
Okay, when does the runway end? When do we have to execute on that?
The deadline was today, my understanding.
But I think that there's, I don't know that there's an actual date for that. The reality of it is that the homeowner is only going to get $229,000 for the house.
But
And
she's
so
not
we
gonna
don't
be
have to
required-
pay more than
No, but she's not gonna be
220.
required to sell it to us.
No, that's
Not
true.
required to sell it to us, but she cannot profit more than the 229.
All right.
I think
10% is a wild card that I'm not.
there's some discrepancy here about.
But if Ms. Griffin Wright's correct, then basically, the price on this is going up big time tomorrow morning.
Right, but any profit that is made comes to the
Comes to
town,
the
so.
Well, except, it sounds
But it
like
takes it out
except
of
for
the
this.
affordable.
But we
But I-
don't have the money to buy it at any price above 279.
Right, correct. But I still don't know where this 10% is coming from. That's something that I need to
Yeah,
understand.
that's
Because when you read the deed writer, it says nothing about 10% in here.
That's probably when she can put it on the market rate. It's probably when it becomes market rate.
Yeah, this obviously we have to find out more
I
about.
spoke to her, I said, I told her I was coming to the
Where is the
meeting.
homeowner?
She's gone, she was on her way to Canada.
Mhm.
So I did speak to her and I said, I'm gonna go into the meeting and
You wanna
maybe
be
that would be your
highlighted.
best resource.
But still, the reality is that the homeowner cannot get more than 229 for the house, except maybe for this 10%. So 250 maximum.
Okay, but
And
they could still, we can't force them to sell it to us.
No, but
No,
they want to sell it, and we can buy it for the price that they can receive. If they sell it to somebody else, then we get a check for the
I
difference
understand
between
that, but
what they sell.
we're sitting here tonight to discuss if we should buy it.
Mhm.
So can we buy it at the 229 or 229 plus 10% price, whatever that delta is?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think the issue is we still have the option of being able to buy it at the quote-unquote affordable price.
We can
This-
offer,
we can
that's what
off-
I'm hearing.
This is
But they
good.
don't have to accept our offer.
Well, that was
They
one of
don't have
the,
to, but they don't have any.
they have no
Different.
incentive to do that because they could sell the house for $3 million. They're only gonna get 229 or maybe 229 plus 10%, and whatever delta they realize from the sale comes to the
Now,
town.
I understand that part of it.
Yes. But I think the larger picture is, do we even want to buy the thing, regardless of whether it's 229 or 229 plus 10%?
What condition is it in? Does anybody know?
That's the thing, we don't know. I
It's
don't
not in
know.
bad shape. I've been in there.
It's not that bad.
No.
It's 2 houses over from my house.
Yeah.
Is there anything that needs imminent
I-
attention?
I haven't been inside the house, so
Okay.
I'd have to go in and look around. It's,
It's not in bad shape.
Yeah.
She's done her Title V. She had a contract with, I think this was the third buyer she's dealing with, and she did some repairs for that person. I don't think it's in such bad shape at all. I think it was in worse shape when she bought it, when we had it, when Dr. Murtha's daughter.
Is there an existing home inspection report that can be viewed?
I haven't seen it.
And you wouldn't buy a home without a home inspection report?
Well, you would buy an affordable home, yeah.
You would?
They do it all
Well,
the time.
my take on it, just to get the argument moving down the road, is that one unit's not gonna make a difference in our overall position of affordable housing in this town. And it seems like we're not prepared in any way to take on managing this house. We don't understand the financial implications, we don't understand the physical maintenance implications. And to just dive right in out of desperation is a misuse of the 279 that we have, and could be a big drain on other resources also.
So you, Mr. Levine, you live in Bolton Woods where all the houses still affordable now, or is it a mix?
no, it's a mix.
And was the community designed that way, 50/50?
Mhm.
Okay. And so when are these riders running their course? It's different?
Each unit is different, but my understanding, some are have 30 years expiration, some have 50. I think they're coming up, I want to say, within the next 5 years.
Mhm.
So we either have to try and negotiate with those owners to get new deed riders placed on the units, or we basically would lose them.
Eric, you had a-
And I'm actually Eric Neal on Bear Hill Road. I'm actually surprised at the 229 price, because when the planning board was looking at what affordable units go for, for the fee in lieu of, the standard house was like 180,000. So I don't understand, if that's what, the regional value is for a affordable house, how could she even be asking 229? Of course, nobody can buy it because that's way above.
I can explain that. You mentioned they have these old deed writers, and all of them in Bolton Woods Way are originally this way. Some of them have been changed, updated, such that the old deed writers say that the affordable price is a percentage of the market price. So 229 is a lot of money to pay for an affordable house. The new ones at Sugar Road are 167.
Yeah.
Right, so at that price, you're never gonna sell an affordable unit at 229, so any of these houses are coming up, and if that's what they're going for, they're not gonna sell.
Right, which leads to another thing that we might consider. For the most part, when we have successful sales of the units, the deed writer is updated to always be, the affordable price is determined as a percentage of the market, of the income of the buyer, the eligible, the buyers who fit within the eligible limits of income. And that the house is always affordable to them. So under a new deed writer, this particular house might sell for 180. It's these old deed writers that have this percentage of market price that are a problem. So, for example, we might consider, when there is a sale in the future, and we do have experience selling those units ourselves without using a consultant or the state. Not something that I take on lightly, but we have done it in the past. And at that point, we can update the unit. Maybe also, if we put $30,000 of our money into that unit, we get it back down to a price that people can afford. And that's an option that we may take in the future. if we do have money, house comes, with an old deed writer comes to be sold, and the price is, let's just say $220,000. The town can exercise its right of first refusal to buy the house, put $30,000 into it, not into spending on it, but to lower the price of it. And then change the deed writer so that it's forever affordable. And that, I don't know, I might consider that would be an example or something we'd consider doing instead of purchasing this unit. Or it might be that we could work out a deal with this unit even. If the homeowner just wants to sell the unit, clearly, if they get the same amount of money.
Or so somebody else would purchase it for 180 and we would buy down the price.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I mean, the only problem with that is time. Kind of,
Well, I mean, that was something we probably should have done at the beginning of the process, not now.
yeah.
I echo what Bob indicated, that I think at this stage, spending $230,000 of affordable housing trust money on this is not necessarily going to dramatically alter the landscape. Lessons learned, perhaps we should do that with the next one. But the fact that the house has been on the market for the length of time that it's been on the market, and there is one individual or buyer that is interested in buying it, but due to some technicalities in terms of the conditions, that person is being denied a mortgage. We should not necessarily be in the business of being, in real estate and being, a homeowner, because I have no idea how long it's going to take to sell the unit. And, to Don's point, we're going to be responsible for, all the maintenance and potentially whatever upgrades need to be done in order to sell the unit to someone. And also, there's a loss of the tax revenue. I would say at this juncture, we should pass and not necessarily deplete most, if not all, of the money that we have there. But at the point in time that it does sell, we do get a bit of a windfall and put that money to more better and productive use.
I wonder if I could ask a question of Eileen Griffin Wright. So what you think, would it be possible with this unit to not buy it but put $30,000 into it so that the owner could sell it for $200,000? Would that?
I would
you
have
think-
to talk to her because,
Sure.
I think her situation is a little precarious. So,
Would you like to get a house?
I'd like to
So
keep it
that's-
because we can't afford to lose these, Every time we've lost others up there.
Yeah.
If this doesn't work, Kevin, I would suggest you take the money and you go to the people who have the deed writers and say, okay, I'm going to give you X amount of money, let's change this deed writer.
Yeah.
Don't wait till they put it on the market because it's too late.
Well, I mean,
And these were high in the first place. We've had trouble with every single one of these because of the original deed writer.
yeah, in the last several years.
Yeah,
right.
remember, we just lost one last time.
Yeah.
So, I'm gonna approach her, because I said, and I talked to her attorney, I said, I'm gonna go see what the town can do. So I'd be glad to address that with her. But it's not her, it's her father I have to address this with.
So Erica, we've been steady at, haven't we, the trust at like 200, was 270,000 for a while.
For a while.
And so have there been any payments from Century Mill?
So the last payment was from Century Mill, and I want to say that was 2 years ago
Okay.
now, maybe a year and a half ago.
So what, I'd just say, the money has been sitting there for a long time, doing very little in terms of the affordable housing goals. So it would be good to do something with it instead of waiting for it to get bigger and bigger and have lost opportunities. You know, this is money for affordable housing. It's not really the town's money. So I'd be interested in trying to use it, actively trying to use it rather than banking it. We have more money expected from Houghton Farms, from Century Mill, a lot of development going on.
Just an update on Houghton Farm, they actually ended up deeding us a lot,
Wow.
which the Affordable Trust is gonna have to vote on. But lot 15, they did deed to the town.
Is that the one on Holden Run?
It is,
Okay.
We still know we wanted to put a duplex on, isn't it?
correct,
Yeah.
yeah. So we'll need
Yeah.
to figure out, what
Yeah.
the trust wants to do. with
Well,
that.
yeah, so maybe you want to spend your money there with Habitat and building,
Oh,
I don't know.
we had a terrible time there, remember, Kevin?
Maybe things have changed.
Wow, the neighbors were just brutal.
Well, then maybe we should just move ahead and do it, you know?
I think it's a great idea. It was a great plan we had when we went in.
Yes, it was. But I'm not in favor of spending the money on this right now. No,
Okay.
I'm not in favor of it.
Does the board want to take a vote to codify that, or?
Well, it sounds like, it sounds like this deal doesn't work, but maybe Kevin and Eileen can come up with something that they bring back to us.
So I will move that we not make an offer on the purchase of this house.
I'll second that.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Now, this still gives you the leeway to come up with some other
Against, sorry.
ways of working this.
And I think that's an appropriate thing for us to do at this point, because this can happen in the near future again. And, well, I'm not sure we can go proactively choose whose deed writer we spend money to.
How many deed writers like this remain
But
in
if,
Bolton Woods Way?
well, probably like 13 or 12.
12. I think we're 12.
Well, no, 12, yeah, something like
I
that.
mean, I don't know the full circumstance, but with some of the details of the buyer who's trying to buy the property as an affordable unit, to my point earlier, I think we need to go back to the state, because they're imposing these restrictions on everybody, but they want affordable housing and production and everything else. But if there aren't people who can qualify, or if the requirements are so onerous that it disqualifies what would be relatively good people to buy these things, then I think that's part of the problem as well.
I definitely think that we should talk with the state about this. I would point out that they have been responsible in the past when there's been a sale, or, for example, the refinance of a unit, to update the deed writer at that point. And so some of our units, our older units in Bolton Woods Way, have updated.
Oh, I'm not so worried about, I'm concerned with the deed writers, but it's the individual who's trying to buy the house who's being excluded, and apparently,
But that doesn't happen with the new deed writer.
I know, but yeah, I hear you, but the thing is, from what I understand, if the buyer can hang on till January, they would be eligible to buy. And, what are the circumstances? I don't know all the details on, I'm not gonna, I know some of the details, I'm not gonna put that in an open meeting, but, there's gotta be a little bit of leeway here.
But that's private mortgage. I mean, the reason this whole problem arises is that a person has to have little enough income to become eligible to purchase the house, but has to have enough income to get a mortgage on the private market to cover the price.
No, I understand, but that's not the issue of the individual who's trying to buy the house. That has nothing to do with it.
Right, no, but that person was stymied because the private mortgage couldn't qualify for a private mortgage.
You
It
don't
was the
wanna-
rule of the mortgage
You don't want to
company or
get too far
bank.
into a person's
Yeah,
personal finances.
Yeah, so, anyway,
But it-
we need to talk. They're part of the equation here.
So I
So
think that,
talking to the state is talking to our representatives, or it's a
well,
certain
no, I
agency?
think that actually speaking to people at DHCD,
Mhm.
they're remarkably flexible and do whatever they can to do. They're good to work with, and they try hard, and they know what they're doing. And I think if the sense of the trust is that let's try to keep this from happening in the future, that, you know, we can, any of us,
do they have any-
I will take on the task.
Do they have
of
any
coming up with a
suggestions on
plan.
how to deal with these deed writers? That, I mean,
Well,
what you're telling me is that it's the deed writer that's compelling this imbalance between what's truly affordable and the selling price. They must have run
The
across
old
this
deed
before,
writer.
and what suggestions do they have?
They-
How have
they-
other towns actually
Yeah,
dealt with this?
yeah, looking to the ahead, I don't know what they do, but what they have done in the past is when there's a sale, they don't approve a deed writer unless it's, and they have the right to approve it unless it's an updated one, which makes it affordable in perpetuity. And similarly, when a person wants to refinance, they need DHCD permission and the town's permission. And at that point, they make them update the deed writers.
Okay, so you're
We'll
gonna
work
keep
on
trying. Okay,
Keep trying.
try to save it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Erica.
Next, we have the town administrator report.
Thank you.
The highlight of the evening.
See you in a while.
First, the update on Minuteman.
Yeah, I'll talk to you.
Had a recent building committee meeting. We have started installation of windows. And we expect the project to be weather tight by late November, early December,
Wow, good.
which is huge. We are being impacted by the national grid strike. Not over yet, so we're having to look at alternate heating sources for the winter. So we're looking at the cost impact of doing propane as a temporary measure. Propane isn't cheap.
I didn't know there was a strike with National Grid.
It's been on since before the summer.
Oh, okay.
I kind of thought maybe when summer was over, the strike would end, but clearly I was wrong. We could be, there's some very rough numbers, but, you know, that could be like a $200,000 hit or so to the budget, which in a $145 million budget, you know, you assume you can manage that, you know, maybe contingency is what we end up having to use, but the project is flowing very well. I continue to be surprised at the progress that's being made. Got a lot of people, a lot of tradesmen out there working pretty steadily, and so we're still making all of our milestones and so forth. If not for that strike, you know, we wouldn't have any significant issues in front of us at all. So very encouraged by that. Next update on the portico project. At the last meeting, I said that there was one clause that the contractor was objecting to, and we're working on language that we could live with and that the contractor could live with. Actually, it was the contractor's insurance company that was having the issue. I thought it was pretty standard language, but I had a quick consult with town council, and we came up with a tweak that I thought was perfectly reasonable, and I believe the contractor does feel it's reasonable as well, but I haven't gotten his signature back on the contract yet, so I expect that to happen any day. At the last meeting, just a couple of quick notes that I don't have on here. At the last meeting, the board asked me to get the new flag up, flying in front of the town hall that was donated to us as soon as possible. The flag went up last week, so we do have the new flag up now with thanks. And just so you know, at my last coffee with the town administrator, I got 6 people. Didn't break my record of 7, but we're gonna get there before the end of the year. And the very, very common theme was traffic in town, specifically, but not totally 117. But a lot of concern about traffic on 117 and traffic overall. And I was able to tell them that we've applied for various grants, the Housing Choice Community Grant to try to get the $100,000 in engineering funds. I shared Senator Tran's efforts, which, he must be tied up tonight because we did confirm that he would be here, but his efforts to try to get some earmark funds to go towards 117, and also the, which I think is the biggest one of all, is the MassWorks grant that the board approved and we submitted, $970,000. So when I can tell people what we're working on and the prospects that we have, they're pretty pleased and pretty excited. So it was a very, it was exciting to be able to tell people the plans that we have in the works, and hopefully we're going to start, getting some more of the grant money in. And I did share some of the grants that we've already won on, but we can start addressing a lot once we start getting some of these awards. And I think we submitted a very competitive MassWorks grant. And I think
that's for Water Aquatic.
For Water Aquatic, yeah. And when you think of what we can do with that intersection, I mean, a light will calm traffic. We don't have traffic speeding through. We could, as was explained back in July, that's the only way we're ever going to be able to try to ban truck traffic on Water Aquatic. So that's a huge opportunity. So it enabled, and to be able to help things like our, major employer, one of our major employers, Paragon, when we had that meeting with them, DOT themselves said, a light at Water Aquatic will go a long way to alleviating some of those problems, even back that far. So again, I just think it's a really competitive grant. It's unclear to me when the award announcements will be made, but I would be surprised if in the next 30 days we haven't heard.
Okay.
So very encouraging tonight. That's all I have, unless the board has anything for me.
Thank you, Don. Next, we have Board of Selectmen business. Are there any public service announcements?
Just a reminder that the DPW garage will take used motor oil from your car, your lawnmower, if you're preparing your snow thrower. You have to call ahead of time in order to arrange a drop-off with them. But they will use it to heat the building during the winter. So it's a good use.
And we did have a meeting recently with Chief Nelson, the DPW director, Stan, and myself to talk about what options we may have for dealing with incidents where
Compliance.
Compliance, that's a good word, where people not using trash stickers, or perhaps out of town people using the transfer station and so forth. We had, I thought, a very good meeting, a lot of good ideas, and I'm hoping that for one of our October meetings, the DPW Director Joe Lynch will be in with a recommendation to the board.
Yeah, it was a very good meeting, and I think we kicked around a number of great ideas, so we're looking at some short-term and some longer-term remedies for that particular situation.
Good, so moving on, we have a discussion about moving the Board of Selectmen meetings to the Public Safety Building.
Yes, last November, when we discussed moving the meetings from the Houghton Building to here, I said that I hope we would investigate other venues to have these meetings. It's late September, we're about to start a budget cycle, another budget cycle in a couple of weeks, and so it's a good time to revisit that. I think the Public Safety Building has a large meeting room that's an excellent place to have Board of Selectmen meetings. It has more parking than the Houghton Building, and is certainly a much bigger, well-lit, and better ventilated room than the one we're in right now. In addition, the Public Safety Building lot is contiguous with the public library lot, which means that there's an opportunity to use the public library parking area as sort of an overflow area. So if there was some very a meeting that's going to have very large attendance, people wouldn't have to be crossing streets in order to attend the selectmen's meeting. Now, I realize that at present, the meeting room in the public safety building is scheduled for some event almost every night. What needs to be done is we need to determine what those events are, whether or not they can be located in other spaces or occur on other nights. At present, there's no direct feed from for television from the public safety building to Batco, and so that would have to be remedied. But I think that those are manageable issues. I think they are issues that can be overcome. I'd like to see us move forward on this, and so I'm going to ask your concurrence to instruct the town administrator to see what it takes to move the selectmen meetings over to the public safety building, and come back and let's address those issues.
I'm happy to go off and evaluate it and come back with options. Yeah, I don't want to get ahead of myself, so I'll just say that and stop. But
Okay.
absolutely, I'd be happy to do that.
Well, that's fine. I mean, if Mr. Sikansky wants to do that, that's fine. You know, we've had these meetings in this building for many, many years, and we've had potential meetings where there was going to be potentially a large crowd. We've moved it to some other locale. So I'm not necessarily sure what problem we're attempting to solve. And yes, there are a lot of outstanding issues, which, you know, if we move forward with this, Mr. Lowe will come back and report. I will still say that the number one issue is that moving the selectmen meeting on a regular basis to some other locale other than this building impedes the town hall staff, and particularly Linda, in effectively doing her job. And one, for the fact that she has to schlep a whole bunch of junk with her from this building to some other building. And we recently had a situation where there was either something missing or Linda had to find something and she had to go upstairs and get it. We don't have that ability to do that if we move the meeting to another locale. But let Mr. Lowe investigate what he wants to do. But I'm not seeing that, you know, we have a problem that needs to be solved when, you know, if there is a meeting that requires a large meeting area, we can certainly move it to someplace else. But we've had the meeting here, and I think the number one concern should be whether or not it's convenient for the town hall staff, and particularly Linda, which I objected to the last time when we arbitrarily and capriciously moved the location of the meeting from this building to the Houghton building sometime ago.
I am sympathetic to the plight of Linda, who already does a lot of work for us. You know there's a butt coming, don't you?
Yeah,
You know there's a butt
on her
coming.
face. Yeah.
But these meetings are held for the benefit of citizens. And it's for the benefit of citizens that I am making these recommendations.
If the best thing to do is to move over there ultimately, Linda and I will make it work.
Okay, and I will tell you that when, long before I really got involved in town affairs, walking into this room when it's already crowded and you're just learning what's going on is very intimidating. I'll tell you that from personal experience. So I think having a place where people can come in, be reasonably assured they're going to get a seat, even if it's a highly contentious meeting or series of discussions that are going to happen. If it were over in the public safety building, you could bring your kids and you could have them sit at a table in the back while you address the selectmen. That is not something any parent can do in this room. So I think that it presents a lot of opportunities that are not available here or in the Houghton building.
Mary Chumo, Corn Road. Brenda Bolton Seniors holds their meetings there once a month. And it's a great space, I agree. The problem is the locked door, that you have to call the dispatcher every time you want to get in. And so for a selectmen meeting with people coming and going all the time, that could be, you would need somebody at the door.
It's one of the issues we're gonna ask
Yeah.
Don to look at and bring back, if there's not a simple solution to it.
Yep, I'd be interested in hearing what the options are there, Don.
You know, I would like to remind everybody that that meeting space was built for the benefit of the town, the citizens of Bolton, not just for the administration and the staff of Bolton.
Yeah, and Linda, and you make a very good point. I mean, Linda and I are aware, I mean, we're here to support the townspeople. So if that ultimately makes sense, then, you know, we certainly will make it work.
Okay.
So I think I talked to you, Don, before about, you know, a small printer. There's pocketbook printers or book bag printers, but,
Yeah, and that's.
or just that you're linked to the printer, there have to be printers over there.
Right, yeah, I mean, if we needed to print something out, you know, we'll either, I don't know if print Q is even the right word anymore, I don't want to date myself, but we'll figure some other way to, whether it is, as you said, Jonathan, a portable printer that, you know, I'll just strap to your back, or
You know, I'm not asking the selectmen to just make the decision to do it tonight.
No, I know.
I want the selectmen's support to go pursue this.
Yep, I think it's a good idea. We need to vote, or just,
Yeah, please.
All right, I move that the Board of Selectmen direct the town administrator to investigate moving the selectmen meeting over to the public safety building.
second? All those in favor say aye. Aye.
I
Any
will
against?
also favor it, but under protest, the fact that this is there's no problem that needs to be solved with what we have now, but go ahead and investigate.
Next up, we have approved bills, payroll warrants, W19-07 and W19-07A, and minutes. Are we all caught up on the minutes?
We're getting
Well, let's do one at a time. Make a motion to approve the payroll warrants for W1907 and W1907A.
Second?
All those in favor say aye.
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 And we do have minutes?
Yes, minutes of July 12th.
I move we accept the minutes of July 12th.
So move.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Do you want a copy of the affordable housing plan? then?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. So now we're going to move into executive session pursuant to
Bye, Nan.
Good night, Neil.
to MGLC 30A 21A3 to discuss strategy and with respect to collective bargaining for the police union, as the chair finds that an open meeting may have a detrimental effect